Hello class, welcome to an overview of the course. This lecture will help you understand the policies, procedures, and processes in this course. It helps if you have the syllabus in front of you, but you may view this video without it. We're going to step through the syllabus, and you'll notice that my contact information is located at the top of the syllabus, but truthfully, the easiest way to reach me is through email, nheilbrunner@mercy.edu. I make it a policy to respond no later than 24 hours. Usually I respond much more promptly, especially if it's an emergency situation. This is standard boilerplate in most of the syllabi that you've taken. Academic integrity, for example, is taken seriously in this class. I do put most things through Safe Assign, so be aware of the policies regarding cheating and plagiarism. If you have a documented accommodation, please send it to me. If you think you may qualify for a documented accommodation, please see the Office of Accessibility, and I've listed contact information in the syllabus. Mercy does have a counseling service available to all students free of charge. The phone number and contact information is listed there. Should you experience any technical difficulties in this course, the appropriate thing to do is to contact the help desk either through email or through a phone number. This is a totally online course, so I advise you not to wait until the last minute or the last second to submit your assignments. I won't be able to help you usually if it's a Blackboard issue or if it's a computer issue, but help desk is very good at helping students get through those issues. This course does have 10 hours of field work, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in this lecture. It's important to understand the course policies. For example, can you submit late work? The policy is that you can submit late work on most assignments. We'll talk about a couple of exceptions, up to 1 week after the original due date. I'll take 10% of the points that you would have gotten off if it's late, but that's better than a 0. There are a couple of exceptions to this policy, namely the fieldwork and the extra credit vocabulary project cannot be accepted late, and discussion posts cannot be accepted late. The reason that discussion posts can't be accepted late is that they take the place of in-classroom discussion. Imagine if you arrived late to class after everyone had left and then you wanted to discuss a topic. No one would be there to hear it. So that's why you can't post a discussion post late. All papers need to be submitted in Word as I emailed you before the semester. Please don't submit papers in PDF format or text format. They should have a DOC or DOCS or X extension. If I can't download it, I will send you a message and you'll have to resubmit it in Word. All assignments must follow APA format, and I've given you a link. If you're unfamiliar with that, I suggest you go to the link while you're writing your papers and see how to do things like numbers and formatting. Most assignments can be revised in this course. That's sort of a unique policy. I've been doing it many semesters now, and students are very appreciative of it and feel like they learn a lot more. There is a certain way to revise your assignment. Let's say you get a C on an assignment and you're unhappy with it. I give lots and lots of feedback. I always provide feedback in the margins of the document using track changes. So you'll need to be able to see those comments. If you're not seeing those comments, you need to email me or get in touch with the help desk so that you can learn how to see those comments. There's a document in the first week of the course called How to Revise Assignments, and that'll take you through the process of how to do that. Basically, you're going to leave my comments and grading rubrics and everything in place, make your changes, highlight them in some way using red font or yellow highlighter so I can know what you changed, and resubmit using the same link. There are a couple of assignments that may not be revised. field work, again, extra credit vocabulary, that's because they occur too late in the course, and discussion posts. Most other assignments can be revised once for up to a week after it's graded. Our student learning outcomes are listed in the syllabus. You'll see that you'll be learning a great deal about assessment, not just about quizzes and tests, but all forms of assessment. There is a required textbook in this course. I sent it to you prior to the start of the semester. Please make sure you order it. You can order it electronically. You can get a hard copy. You can get it new or used. Make sure it's the appropriate version, which is the 7th edition. You don't have to order the labs. Your grade will be derived as follows. 30% will be from the class participation, which are the learning modules you'll work your way through every week. 20% for a project called the Data Analysis Project. 15% to design a quiz project. 15% for your performance assessment project where you design a rubric, and 20% for your field work. That adds to 100%, and then you can earn 2 additional points on your overall grade if you do the extra credit vocabulary assignment. Here is the graduate school grading scale. You'll notice you cannot get below a 70 in this course and pass it. There's no C-, there's no D. Let's step through some of the assignments in the course. I will be going into each one of the major assignments in much more detail as the weeks progress, but I'm going to just give an overview of what they will look like here. Please don't rush ahead and do the major assignments until they are introduced each week in the course. So don't go off and do your data analysis assignment right now. Don't do your field work right now because you don't know enough about it yet. So just take the assignments one at a time as they come, but I'd like to do an overview of them. Each week, you'll get a learning module. Each learning module is worth 2% of your grade, or 2 points. 2 times 15 is 30 points. So 30% of your grade is from the work that you'll do in the weekly learning modules. Those modules will be posted more than a week ahead of time, and they're always due Tuesday at midnight. Sometimes you'll be asked to do readings, or sometimes watch a video. Sometimes you'll be asked to do a discussion post or an assignment, a small assignment. Everything is controlled by the README file in the module, and we'll see what that looks like a little bit later in this lecture. For now, understand that you go to the README file, which is at the top of the list of activities, read through that, do everything in the module. There's a checklist at the end of the README file. It's due Tuesday by midnight. Let's talk for a second about discussion posts because they're part of the learning modules most weeks. Discussion posts are actually 2 types of posts. One is a response to the questions. One is a reaction, and you have to react to at least 2 colleagues. You can't just say good job. You have to meaningfully extend the conversation with your colleagues by either posting questions, reflecting on something from your own experience that you add, or commenting on something from the lectures or the textbook readings. There is a discussion board rubric that's embedded in the syllabus. You can see that 40% of your discussion posts will be based on, did you have substantive supported evidence in your original response to the questions? 40% will be, did you post 2 reactions to colleagues, and were those reactions substantive in such a way that they extended the conversation? You can't just say, I like the way you did this, I agree with you. You have to extend the conversation. And 20% is professional communication. So did you write professionally? Did you write error-free? Did you write grammatically correct sentences? Were you professional in your response to your colleagues, or did you attack them? So this is the rubric, and you can see when I grade your discussion post, you can see this rubric attached. By the way, you won't be able to see the others' responses until you post your own response. And I do that because in the past I've had students copy other people's responses, and I don't want that. I want this to be your original ideas. So you're going to hit reply, you'll see the questions, but you won't see others' responses until you post. Let's talk for a minute about the analyzing and visualizing assessment data. Excuse me, that's worth 20% of your grade. Part 1 is due October 18th and Part 2 is due November 1st. It's an assignment where you look at some existing quiz data and look for patterns and analyze that to see how your class is learning. So this is an important assignment to help you understand overall about data analysis. I'll be providing much more detail about this assignment later, but for now that's what you need to understand. The next assignment, the major assignment, is called the quiz project, and it's worth 15% of your grade, and it's due November 15th. This is where you're going to design a quiz with different types of questions. Your quiz must be at second grade or higher because it's inappropriate developmentally to give a quiz to young children. So there's a lot more coming about this, and I'll be giving you more details. For now, you can read through the description and see the grading scale in the syllabus. The next major assignment is the performance assessment project. You can see that this is about designing rubrics. So your draft of your rubric will be due on November 22nd. Your final project will be due November 29th. You can read through the description here and see the grading rubric. Hopefully as part of this class you'll learn the difference between a grading checklist and a grading rubric. The last major assignment is called the fieldwork paper. This is where you're going to go in and observe a classroom for 6 hours and then write up what you find. But it's not just about writing the lesson, it's also about writing about the different forms of assessment you saw taking place. So again, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the assignment here. You can start planning for your observation, but you shouldn't do the observation yet because you don't know enough about assessment. I'd say put that off for at least a month or maybe even 2 months before you do the observation. As far as where you could observe, it should be an in-person observation in a classroom where you're not teaching and you're not assisting, you're not the teacher's assistant. It could be in your own school, although we encourage you and we track your observations to see that you're getting a diversity of observations. So if your certification area is elementary, grades 1 to 6, you should sometimes be seeing grade 1, sometimes be seeing grade 6. You should see different kinds of schools, so suburban, urban, rural. You should see high needs schools. You should see more affluent communities because you never know where you're going to wind up teaching, and we want you to have a diversity of field work. And as part of this, you're going to submit a fieldwork log and a disposition survey in chalk and wire. More about that later. There is an optional extra credit opportunity called the vocabulary project. It's due at the end of the semester. Basically, each week you're going to be given vocabulary that appears in both the syllabus and the README files. And there's a template in the major assignments folder for this project, including a template and instructions. If you're interested, go look at that. And basically all you do is you define the vocabulary word and you use it in a sentence. And that could be worth 2 extra credit points on your overall grade turned in December. Part of the syllabus has the course timetable. This tells you what we're covering every week. So this week, for example, you can see we're covering introductions to the course and to assessment. The work is due on Tuesday, September 13th. There's that vocabulary list I referred to. It even has the page numbers in your textbook where the vocabulary is located. Any readings and assignments that are due. So this week, Macmillan Chapter 1, your textbook is due. And by the way, I've given you Chapter 1 this week only in the learning module. Next week I won't provide the chapter. This is just to help you get started in case your book hasn't arrived yet. And all the activities for learning module 1 are due this week. So you can check that course timetable to see what's due, what the topic is, what the vocabulary is, etc. For this week, make sure you've completed all the activities in the README file from week 1. Refer to the checklist at the bottom of the file to make sure you've done them all. And again, it's due Tuesday, September 13th. Let's take a look at that README file for Learning Module 1. So if you go to Course Materials and you click on the Learning Modules and you go to Week 1, this file is downloadable at the top of the list. And you can see this is your guide to your blueprint for what you need to do each week. All of the resources that you need, all the links, all the files, everything that you need, if there's a link for a discussion, they're all in the Week 1 folder as well. So it kind of lays out what you should be able to do at the end of the week, introduce yourself, correctly identify basic features of the course. These are our learning objectives for the week, and distinguish between some basic forms of assessment. You can see that the vocabulary is also listed in the README file. This should match the syllabus. And finally, the list of activities. So 25% of your modular grade for this week of the 2 points overall for the course consist of introductions. So what you should do step by step. Activity 1, open and read this file, the README file, then view the Dr. H. Welcome video, then open the Getting Started document and read it, and click on Introduction Students. So you can see that there are a lot of activities, especially in this first week, but most of them are very short. Once you've worked through all the activities, you double check yourself. I always provide a checklist at the end of the README file, and you can say, okay, did I click on this? Did I watch that? Did I do all of these? Well, if so, you've done everything. That's it. Are there any questions? Please feel free to email me at nheilbrenner@mercy.edu or through the course message system. Thanks, everybody, and let's get started.